The Pat O'Hara Show is sponsored by the River Shack Tavern, 3449 River Road in Jefferson.
Hey VooDoo fans, welcome to the Pat O'Hara Show, coming to you from the River Shack Tavern here in Jefferson. I'm your host, Brandon Rizzuto, and joining me as always is head coach Pat O'Hara. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Looking at the Jacksonville game, one that we rather not talk about.
Well, you have to talk about it and you have to face it. You know, we have to learn how to finish people off when you get a huge lead. At one point, we had a 23-point lead. When you do that, you've got to put your foot on the gas pedal and be able to maintain that. Perfect storm of events in arena football. We talk about all year about how the ball can bounce funny, and it did. And we didn't take advantage of our opportunities. And we were able to let that one get slipped away. Something to learn from.
Really a tale of two halves in the game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, first half, you know, we scored every possession in the first half, Brandon, but we made it hard on ourselves. We got down to third and fourth down, had to score in late downs, and really left some plays on the field, which is uncharacteristic. These are some things we've been doing the last couple of weeks, though, we've led up to that. And it really culminated the other night, and we ended up with a loss out of it. And we can't do that as we move forward. We continue with this, what we call a process, and we're certainly capable of finishing off every drive with touchdowns and points. We didn't do it the other night.
One of the things that you probably noticed in film, or you tell me, what did you notice in film from that game?
Second half was strange. You know, we had the possession coming out with a 23-point lead, or 12, 13-point lead. We come out in the second half with the possession. We moved the ball downfield, score. We didn't see the ball again the whole rest of the third quarter. It was a long third quarter. We didn't get back on the field till the fourth quarter. As soon as we get the ball, we drop back and fumble the ball in our own end zone and give up a touchdown. We lost an onside kick and then got stopped trying to go in for the game winner. So a lot of crazy things happen. That's arena football. I
know you don't like to talk about individual performances, but in the first half, Corey Payne definitely showed that he's back to 100% or close to it.
Corey did some good things. And made some great individual plays, and that was good to see. But again, there continues to be things we need to work on offensively to really be consistent. You know, we've got to be consistent week in and week out. We showed in the first first month of the season what kind of offense we can put on the field and the type of damage we can do. And in the last 3-4 weeks, we've taken a little bit of a step back. We've got to fix that.
One of the things that perhaps that you might have taken away positive-wise from this past game?
Well, we did a good job in kickoff coverage. Terrence Smith was at the top of the league in kickoff coverage. Our kickoff coverage team did a tremendous job of wrangling up Terrence Smith and keeping him contained from getting some large, chunks of ground, and we were able to do that. Defensively, I thought we played pretty darn good. I was really happy with. We had some sacks, we had some pass rush. We did some good things on the defensive side, and offensively, the inconsistency hurt us.
Talk about the offensive line. I know you acquired Patrick Afif this past week. Had a chance to start for you.
Yeah, Patrick did a good job. Patrick was solid. Really only gave up one pressure the whole night. Was solid at that left side, is where he's comfortable playing. That was a plus.
One of the things that you look at, one of the funny things, not so funny at the time when it happens, but looking back at it, Brian Johnston jumping in the stands to avoid a penalty, wound up getting a penalty. Talk a little about that.
Well, it's one of those young mistakes. We had the turnover for a touchdown, and we're getting our PAT block team out there, and Brian has to come off the field. Instead of running all the way off, he jumps in the stands. You get a penalty for that. So that's something we have to learn from. It's part of the process.
Stay tuned for more action on the Pat O'Hara Show, coming to you from the River Shack Tavern and on Cox 4. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. It's not the Pat O'Hara Show for this segment, it's the Josh Bush Show. We welcome Josh Bush to the show. Josh, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
You talk about a guy that's been around and seen this league evolve, the AFL. Josh, just talk about your 8 years involved with the Arena Football League.
It's been wonderful. A great opportunity to continue playing football, and I love every minute of it. You know, it's been a long haul with the layoff in 2008, but you know, I figured I'd come back and still play. You know, even with the new structure of the new model of the way we get paid. But I mean, I'm just loving the game.
Now, talk about your time in the league. You started out in this league where you had to play 2 ways, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Talk about that and the challenges it posed.
Well, it was difficult at first when I first came in because I was so small. Then they told me I had to tackle. So I'm like, man, it's going to be pretty tough. But, you know, I just kind of watched from a lot of the veteran guys and kind of grasped just playing defensive back. And I caught on to it, and I've been loving it, you know.
How long have you known Pat O'Hara?
I known Coach for about 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
Have you played for him at that time period the whole time or no?
I remember when he coached against me, and I caught a couple big plays on Coach O'Hara and Coach Markham, I think like in 2007 in the playoffs. So I remember them back then, even when he played, you know, so about 8 years.
Talk about your last 2 years in Orlando. Coach gets dismissed from Orlando, has a chance to come to New Orleans VooDoo. He recruited you to come here. Talk about that process.
Oh, I felt honored that he gave me a call and, you know, presented the opportunity to come play for the VooDoo. He was a very great coach in Orlando. You know, this is a business, things happen, and, you know, that's what happened down there. But I'm glad he came here, and I'm glad that we're able to, you know, play with each other again. He can coach me.
Early on, you mentioned that you're a small guy. Just talk about being a small guy throughout your career. I'm pretty sure that's held you back. Talk about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, being small, you know, a lot of people, I'm not the prototypical athlete, football player, you know, so I can understand why people might shy away from wanting to take a chance on me and wanting to, you know, spotlight me in certain situations. But, you know, that drives me, that motivates me to continue to get better, continue to perfect my craft, continue to just push and work hard every day, you know, and not so much to prove the critics wrong, but, you know, just to do what I do, you know, and perfect myself and make myself a better person.
You're one of the older guys on this team, and please don't take that as a dig,
yeah.
But you have a lot of experience. What do you bring to the locker room and try and tell some of these younger guys about this game and about being a professional athlete?
Well, you know, when we're young and we come into playing professional football, it's a lot that come with it, you know, in terms of off the field. You know, so I just try to help these guys understand that, you know, everything that comes with this being an arena football player, I try to help guys understand that you have to, I don't want to mix the words up. You just kind of have to weigh it and don't get caught up into the outside stuff. Put this first. Don't put being a football player second and getting caught up into the outside stuff first, you know. Put football first, you know, and everything else will happen for you.
I know you were a Florida guy and had a chance to go back home this past week in Jacksonville, at least in your home state. Just talk about, you know, that game and just how moving forward from that is a big part of this and how much parity is in this league.
It's a tough loss, you know, tough loss to be up 28 points and to have a team come back on you and lose. Even though you're at home, even though you're away, you still don't lose the lead after 28 points. But the biggest thing that we got from this, we're still a team. You know, and we still have to fight. We still have a chance to be first in the division at the end of the season. You know, it's just what do we do from here? Do we get better or get worse? Because you only can do two things.
Looking forward at the Spokane Shock game. Just talk about that and what to expect from that arena. I know the fans are pretty rowdy.
I never played down in Spokane, so I don't know how much the fan atmosphere, you know, is rowdy or whatever. But from what I hear, it's a very tough place to play in, so we just have to prepare. You know, like we know that we're going into a tough environment. We know what we're faced with. We just have to go down there and execute.
One of the things I know you're passionate about is football. There's another aspect of your life that you're very passionate about, and that's your daughter.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, I'm very passionate about it. You know, she was a life changer for me. You know, and she got me going in the direction that I needed to go to be a better man, to be a better person. You know, so you know I hate that I have to be away from her for, you know, for 5 to 6 months a year, but she understands what Dad does, and she understands that, you know, I'm a football player and Dad has to go sometimes, but I love her and she's just an inspiration to me.
Josh, as always, thanks for your time, my friend. Look forward to having you at practice tomorrow.
Thank you for having me on.
You're watching the Pat O'Hara Show here on Cox 4. Stay tuned for more VooDoo action coming up next. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. And we just had a chance to visit with Josh Bush. And Coach, let's talk about Josh. I know you've been around him for quite some time. Yeah, Josh has played for me the last 2 seasons in Orlando and has played in the Arena Football League for 8 years. You know, he's been around a lot. He's somebody that one of the first guys I called to try to get to come with me here, not only because of his play, but the type of person he is, the type of person he is in the locker room. And that's the type of guy you want leading by example with his effort. And certainly he's got a lot left in the tank. You know, he's like a young guy running around out there, so we're fortunate to have Josh. When you talk about Iron Man football, true Iron Man, Josh brings a little bit of that. That's something you don't see in this game too often. We're fortunate that Josh played in the AFL when it was a two-way game. He had to play cornerback and he had to play receiver, and so we still tap into that. That enables us to suit up another player at another position because Josh is able to do double duty as our fourth defensive back and also return kicks. So Josh is very dependable and consistency is always there, and that's what you want from a veteran player. Moving forward, looking at the division this week, and Coach, a lot of crazy things happen in the South as usual. As usual, yeah. You know, you lose one game, you go from first to fourth in this division. That's what happened to us. But it can switch very, very quickly, and so we've just got to get back on track. We've got a long trip out to Spokane here on Wednesday, and we've got to take care of business this week, and then come back home in front of our fans. It's been a long time away with a bye week. 2 games, 3 weeks, so it's something we're looking forward to. Looking around the AFL, anything jump out at you? Just that, like you said, Brandon, it continues to be a crazy league with tons of parity. It's not a league you want to bet on. You know, anything could happen, and anything can happen at any given moment. So, and that's kind of in a nutshell our team too. That we've got to realize, no matter what the situation is, whether we're really up like we were the other night, or down like when we fought from behind, you've got to finish. You know, you've got to play 4 quarters, Brandon, and that's something we continue to learn. Each and every week we spotlight a VooDoo player, and this week's guy, we always try and throw Coach a little clue and see if he can catch it, and Coach, this one will be pretty easy. He got his first arena football sack at this past game. It's got to be Marlon Favorite. Yeah, big fave. Marlon's a local guy. He had a lot to say with Cox. Check this out.
VooDoo, running for my magic. VooDoo, running for my magic.
It's been a decent sized learning curve for me. Game's a lot quicker. It's a little different from the NFL, so I'm just really getting adjusted to it. But it's easy to get latch on to because you're pretty much just going out there and playing ball. So anything dealing with football, especially on the defensive line, I catch on to quick. One thing we preach about a lot, one thing we talk about a lot, we call ourselves family. This is a family deal. Whenever the family that prays together stays together, and that's the model we go by. That's the model we use. We pray before practice, we pray after practice, before games, after games. So we have that feeling going on, and whenever you have a feeling like that going on, you got guys' chemistry rolling, and now it's like you're playing for your brother, so we go that much harder, and I think that's why we're seeing the success we're seeing, and it's going to continue to get better. It's a great feeling. I was telling my pops and a couple of my friends the other day, it feels like it's back in high school again. I feel that feeling of being around the people who followed you your whole career, support and love you. Glad to see you play. Come to the games, just want to shake your hand after and say, man, Marlon, it's good to see you playing again. Hear a little bit of LSU chanting and stuff like that. All that's cool. just having that opportunity just to be home, just for a change, just to be around something that's familiar is cool. The funniest looking guy on the team, I gotta say, is Zoe. The funniest, and then you got Trevon. There's a whole bunch of clowns on the team, and that makes it cool too. You got guys you can joke with every day. It's just funny to look at, funny to hear crack jokes. So it's pretty interesting in the locker room. Joey Calvin does a lot of the new dances that's out right now all the time when you make a big play. So Joey's probably the best dancer. I'll take second to Joey. Winning the Super Bowl in New Orleans. That'll probably come second to me getting my degree from LSU. I love cereal. I have this, because we don't usually eat cereal out on the road. That's probably one of my biggest, that's guilty pleasure of mine. Like if I'm going on a diet, I have to figure out some type of way to incorporate cereal into the diet. I love cereal, it's just my deal.
Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here as we wrap up the show and get ready for the Spokane Shock. Got a big trip out west. Coach, just talk about the Spokane Shock.
Spokane Shock, world champions in 2010. A lot of pride in that organization. In 2009, when they were in the AF2, they won the Arena Bowl in the AF2. So they went 2 straight years of winning it. They have a lot of pride. They're 3-4 like we are right now, coming off a loss against Utah. Very good quarterback in Kyle Rowley. Excellent kick returner. Again, another great kick returner in Terrence Sanders. And it's a very sound team. And the environment is much like Jacksonville. It's loud. Their fans get really into it. And the distance of the trip. It's a long trip to Spokane. We're going up 2 days early to get acclimated. Should be a good contest.
One of the things we talk about each and every week is the South Division and how competitive it is. That division that they're in is pretty rough as well.
It is rough. It's really a high-flying, high-scoring, a lot of offense division. You see the scores are just, last week Utah and Spokane was like 85-63. You're seeing a lot of high-scoring games, not as much defense. Spokane plays good defense, though, and that's something we need to continue to be great in all 3 facets.
Moving forward from the Jacksonville game to this game, anything you see to correct from our standpoint moving forward?
I thought defensively we played good enough to win. Special teams was better. PAT protection is much better. Our kickoff coverage is better. Kickoff return, not bad. Got a little better. Offensively, we sputtered in the second half. It's concerning. It is concerning. It is fixable. I know what we're capable of doing. It's getting back to those basics and fundamentals and executing. We've got to execute better. I believe we'll do that.
Talk about how huge this game is, just to go on a road, far West Coast trip, and finally after that get a chance to come back home in front of your own fans. Yeah, West Coast trip, our West Coast trip to Utah was successful. Hopefully we can have another West Coast trip successful up to the Northwest it's a very good opponent in Spokane, but we'll be ready to go. You mentioned Kyle Rowley. Talk about some of the other personnel that may cause problems for the VooDoo in this game.
Well, really, Brandon Tompkins, wide receiver for Spokane, had 7 touchdowns against Utah. 7. And he's only played 2 or 3 games, so he's somebody we got to be aware of. And obviously the quarterback, Kyle Rowley, is very effective. Their pass rush is good. And then the secondary, Josh Ferguson and Terrence Sanders are very good defensive backs. So we've got to be sound in everything we do.
One of the things you talked about, that hostile environment. I've never been there, Coach, but I've heard some stories, and Kurt Rocco had a chance to play in his first AFL game last year in Spokane. He told me a little about it. Just talk about what to expect from those fans.
Well, their fans, they study. They'll open up and go on the internet and they'll study the guys and things about them, and they'll scream out personal things about you like they know you, and it can be distracting. So our guys will be ready for that. They have great fans, though. They have great fans. They love the game, and are used to success up there. So it'll be loud, and we've got to adjust to that.
We talk about it all the time. Patrick Maloney, head trainer for the VooDoo with Tulane Institute of Sports Medicine. How is the team looking health-wise going into this game?
We're fortunate. You know, we had the bye week, and we went into the game the other night. We really came out of it injury-free. That's big, you know, especially with 11 more weeks straight and then playoffs. We came out of it healthy, and when I hear that from Pat each morning when I have my meeting with him, that's a good thing.
You mentioned special teams got better, had some improvement against Jacksonville. Talk about Matt Denny and the addition he has had on this football team.
Well, we put Matt in a tough situation. We got the ball on the 1 yard line. We got pushed back. We had to kick a field goal at the end of the half, try to get those 3 points, and then we had the possession coming out. Matt's been 4 for 5 on field goals and made some clutch field goals for us. We're depending on him to continue to do that.
Coach, as always, best of luck in Spokane.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. Be sure to come visit us every Monday. We tape here at 3 o'clock. Until then, stay tuned.